Since 7th October attack in Israel, one name had dominated news headlines, and that was of Ismail Haniyeh, the Hamas chief designated by the United States of America as a global terrorist. For the supporters, though, he was a senior popular leader of Hamas, which is also in the government in Gaza. He was, though, the most protected and safeguarded by the Iranian Supreme Council. And to think of this, Haniyeh's assassination came not in Qatar, where he was sheltered all this while, but in Iran's city, Tehran. This is the biggest international news on 31st July 2024, and it also marks a historic turning point. Either this development means the end of Hamas and end of the war, or this means an escalated regional conflict and thereby a global war. Now, the first confirmation came from Iran's elite revolutionary guards and then from Hamas itself, which means that the information was not simply a speculation. Sami Abu Zuhairi, senior Hamas official, said, and I quote it here, "The assassination by the Israeli occupation of brother Haniyeh," it says, "is a grave escalation. It aims to break the will of Hamas and the will of people in achieving fake goals. Hamas will continue on this path regardless of the sacrifices, and we are confident of the victory," Hamas said. If you were wondering what happened, I am fascinated by the timeline. Ismail Haniyeh was believed to have been in Qatar at least when 7th October attacks happened in Israel, and that he was extremely protected in Qatar, in Doha. Visuals of him that appeared to be in Doha while he was celebrating, looking at what is Hamas victory, but the brutalities in Israel on 7th October, those visuals had been viral. He recently went to Tehran, and this was not some hidden movement. He was attending the inauguration ceremony for Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. He also met the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei. Khamenei himself shared this image on social media. This was barely hours before the killing took place. So think of the precision here, that if these are Israeli agents, to successfully neutralize the biggest Hamas leader and do that in Iran and do that without a trace while the world is watching. Now the Middle East is at crossroads. Remember that the war is not simply between Israel and Hamas or Gaza. Rockets continue to pound at Israel also from Lebanon. The conflict has already drawn in other groups as well, backed by Iran. There is Lebanon-based Hezbollah from the north, Yemen's Houthi rebels in the Red Sea, Hamas from the sides and specifically the south. And the fact that Haniyeh's death coincides directly within 24 hours with that of top Hezbollah commander Fawz Shukr, it adds all of this to other dimensions. So who was Ismail Haniyeh? Haniyeh basically was the political arm, basically known for diplomatic efforts from the base in Qatar and Turkey, and a key player in navigating ceasefire negotiations, but also while maintaining ties with Iran and while strategizing against Israel. The military wing of Hamas, remember, is meanwhile led by Yahya Sinwar, believed to be the mastermind of 7th October attack. Israel has had eyes on Sinwar also for a long time, but his location has not been out in the open, unlike what happened to Haniyeh this time. As Hamas attributes killing to an Israeli operation, what has Israel's military said on this? Listen in to this first statement.
Israel saw an opportunity based on intel, based on the fact that Haniyeh made public that he was visiting in Tehran, and Israel had the actual capacity based on various sources of intelligence to actually deliver the strike.
Also, America's Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin emphasized that Washington's commitment to defending Israel stands, that if they are attacked, USA will come in. But they're also seeking to ease tensions at this point. Let me take you to the background of Ismail Haniyeh. Born in 1963 in Gaza's Shati refugee camp, Haniyeh joined Hamas in the late 1980s. He swiftly rose through the ranks before claiming the top job in 2017. He has studied in Gaza. He was a student activist at the Islamic University in Gaza. He then joined the Palestinian outfit during the first Palestinian Intifada, the uprising as they call it, in 1987. Ismail Haniyeh has been imprisoned several times. Interestingly here, other dimensions also come in. Ismail Haniyeh is a Sunni Muslim. He had a major hand, although, in building up Hamas's fighting capacity, partly by fostering ties with Iran, which is a Shia Islamic nation. And this has been very interesting in the manner in which this came about. He also became the Prime Minister of the Palestinian Authority following Hamas's victory in 2006 legislative elections. But he was dismissed from the post by President Mahmoud Abbas in 2007. But Ismail Haniyeh has been a globetrotter, specifically moving between Turkey and Doha, which is Qatar's capital, but also escaping travel restrictions that have been with regard to Gaza, also building strategies against Israel. And if you remember, recently, Ismail Haniyeh's family was also in the news. 3 of his sons, Hazem, Amir and Muhammad, were killed on 10th April when an Israeli airstrike had struck the car that they were driving in. Remember that Israel had earlier itself vowed to end Hamas, and with the support of the Western world. Hamas, meanwhile, has had the support of primarily the Islamic nations in the Middle East region. The fact that this happened in Iran, where supposedly Haniyeh was supposed to be the most protected, leads to a lot of questions and uncertainty. And India will be watching this very carefully. This is not our war, and India has sent aid to Palestinians in Gaza in the times of need, especially because Palestinians have suffered immensely during this war in the past few months. And India has also expressed support to Israel as self-defense against terrorism. What do you think will happen here on in the region and as a global conflict? Thank you for watching.